All right, guys, I'm excited. We're live today with Glenda Baker out of Atlanta. She is a phenomenal, not just realtor, but a real estate leader. And I actually found her from TikTok, and I was so enthralled with everything she was doing that I thought, man, I got to have this gal on. Now, Glenda, I want to just go through. I went off your website, and holy smokes, for those of you who haven't heard of Glenda Baker, she's been doing this for, is it 28 years?
It was 29 years in September.
29 years. She's been featured as a real estate expert in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Atlanta Business Chronicle. She was on HGTV. I got pages of this stuff, man. She's the president and CEO of Glenda Baker and Associates. She was on the Zillow Advisory Board, which is huge, especially as one of the founding members, right? 2010 recipient of the Atlanta Board of Realtors Captain of the Industry Award, Genesis Award, Rising Star Award, Award of Excellence. I tell you what, there are so many awards. I could go on for 15 more minutes on the awards. It's amazing. And to have you on, I just appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'll tell you, it has been, it's been an interesting career. Let's go with that.
So I tell you, the reason I was attracted to you is you have such a likable personality and you're so authentic. And I actually went back and I looked at your TikTok videos in the beginning. I did one TikTok video. I ran into some TikTok kid star and she talked me into doing a horrendous dance with her. And it's horrible, right? And there's no more TikToks. I learned my lesson. But I watched yours and then I saw it progress. And all of a sudden you had what you've got now, which is you kind of sitting there and it's either an interesting story or an educational story or it's something funny. And man, I wonder what brought you to that place where, you know, looking at what you started to do and then when you got to what you currently do, what got you there? Was it somebody else or was it something you thought of?
Well, I actually kind of modeled my the way I do it after Matthew Hussey, who gives dating advice. And I just loved his content. I loved like listening to him talk to somebody else. It was like I was a fly on the wall. And I was like, I think I could do that with real estate advice. And so that was kind of my inspiration. And then I started getting a lot of great feedback from my viewers. And they started, you know, at first I just wore like a black dress or a black top. And then I have a lot of clothes that have stars on them. And so I wore a couple of things that had stars on them. And people would comment on the stars. And I'm like, I think the stars kind of have like some legs on them. And I say, oh, my stars all the time.
Yeah.
It's a Glenda-ism. So I was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to go with the star theme. And now, you know, I have glitterati's and it's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? I love that. So one thing too that I think a lot of people have a challenge with, and you just do it so flawlessly, is you want to be likable. I mean, especially if you're in real estate, right? You want to be likable. But a lot of times, at least the people I find likable, they're likable in part because of their authenticity, right? So I feel like it goes against the grain of what you would think you should do, right? You think, okay, I got to act likable, but the more you act like it, the less likable you are. You do it so flawlessly. Is there any strategy with that, or are you just naturally likable?
Well, I don't know that I'm naturally likable. I was Miss Congeniality in the Miss Georgia pageant.
I did not know that.
I am naturally likable. But I think for me, I'm at a point in my life where just being myself, I'm really comfortable being myself. And I think that it was the great feedback from my audience.
Yeah.
They liked that direct kind of in your face thing. They liked that, you know, honesty, that brutal honesty. Yes. And I think that maybe the first thing, let me take off my bracelet because that might be driving you guys crazy. I think that one of the first stories that I told was when I sold the wrong house. And people like really bit into that. And I was like, this might work. This whole like just not being perfect. Like, like I think that people are going to like that. And so I just doubled down on it. I was just like, you know what? I think I'm just going to just be me and I'll either repel them or draw them in.
Yes. So one thing I noticed with you too, and I'm a team leader here down in South Florida. And I've got a bunch of seasoned agents and I've got new agents. And one of the most challenging things to coach is, you know, when you're working with a buyer, buyers want someone that is likable, that's fun. It's pretty easy with a buyer, right? If you can open the house and you've got a little bit of anything really, they're good to go. But with a seller, man, they want a killer. They want someone who's confident, who's going to tell them this is how it goes. They've got the stats, they know the market, they got the marketing plan. You've got that. Like you can go from likable to, hey, listen, this is what I'm telling you to do, and you need to do it.
Yeah.
How would you coach a new agent on that piece?
So knowledge gives you certainty and clarity. And whenever you have certainty and clarity, you can have confidence. When you're unsure about what you're saying, when you're unsure about your numbers, that's when you're weak in your language. That's when you're weak in your tone. So the more knowledge about the market, the more data that you have to build your position, that gives you clarity and certainty, and clarity and certainty give you confidence. So for me, I was the last kid picked on the playground. I barely got out of high school. And so I didn't really have that confidence. And what I found though, was when I talked to people about information, about data, about numbers, that they bit into that. That they listened more closely. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. They listen to me when I can tell them the numbers. When I'm certain about the numbers, they listen to me. So I'm going to go down that track. And from the start of my career, I really found that early, that people were biting into the knowledge. They were biting into the data. And so I've always stayed on that path. And it just gives me comfort and confidence to be able to give the message.
Yeah. Now I'm making a guess here. I've heard you talk about disc profiles, and I'm a high D, but I'm also a C. I mean, the way to sell me is facts. You give me the numbers,
right?
I'm sold. Do you have an element of C to your personality?
So believe it or not, I am actually an IC, which means I'm bipolar, because it's very unusual that you see somebody who is a high I that is also a C. But I am an IC. But I am a D in times of conflict. So if we can't figure out where to eat, don't worry, I got you covered. Because the road is paved with dead squirrels that failed to make a decision. Don't be roadkill. Nobody is roadkill on my watch.
So I was watching an interview that you did with Jimmy Burgess. It was an awesome video, man. Loved it. And you had talked about getting into luxury in the beginning through farming.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how that worked out? What worked for you? What didn't work? And just the story, I guess.
Well, I found fancy neighborhoods. I mean, I lived in an apartment. I had a little baby, and I found these fancy neighborhoods, these houses that I loved. And I was like, I'm going to sell these houses. So I would just drive my car over to the Clubhouse. I'd take my baby out. I'd stroll my baby. And I had pulled all of the information. Now, back in the olden days, we used this thing called a camera. It wasn't attached to your phone. It was a real camera. You took a picture, and you actually took this roll of film and got it developed. And so literally, I drove through the neighborhood. I wrote all of the addresses. I would write 123 Banana Street, house number 1, 125 Banana Street, photo number 2. And I pulled everything, all of the information, and just knew who lived in every house when they bought it. And so then when I was walking my baby in the neighborhood I didn't even live in, I could wave and say, hey, Joe, how's it going? And you would look, and I'd say, oh, I'm Glenda, the real estate agent. And you say, oh, hey, Glenda, how's it going? Because I was sending you newsletters. So you had newsletters. I knew your name. You assumed I lived in the neighborhood. You had no idea I lived in some shitty apartment around the corner. And so sure enough, I'm strolling my baby, and I'm waving, and I would do it between 5 and 7 every night, 3 neighborhoods, 5 to 7, 2 hours every single night, unless it was pouring down rain. And I would put that baby in that stroller. And that's how I got in. And all of those houses in 1992, those houses were 400,000 to $1 million.
Wow. In 92.
In 1992.
Now, is that in the same market you're in right now?
No, I'm not. I in fact, in 2021, I sold one house in those 3 neighborhoods because I don't live in that area anymore. And so, I had farmed those neighborhoods for a while, but when I moved out of the area, and that was the mistake that I made. People say, Glenda, what's the biggest mistake you ever made in real estate? Well, not buying every investment property. The other thing is not keeping up the farm. When I moved from that Johns Creek area here in Atlanta, I gave up that farm, and all of that work I had done for 3 years, gone. gone. I had another farm up in Alpharetta, 536 houses. I sold more houses in that neighborhood than any other agent. I sold more houses in that neighborhood than every other agent combined.
Wow.
And I got pregnant with my son and moved to another area and gave up that 536 houses. But I sold a house in there. I sold a house in that neighborhood this year too. So if I could give you any advice, once you start a farm, don't ever give it up or have enough sense to sell it to another agent.
Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant. You know who Tom Hopkins is of California?
Of course.
Okay. So I remember, I don't know if it was exactly the same or similar, but when I got into my 20s up in Minnesota, he had a book and it went through farming and it was identical to what you just, it was basically become obsessed with this neighborhood, right? The photos, the narratives, the everything. And I remember having, it must have been 8 foot by 7 foot up on my wall. And I drew it out as a 23-year-old, all the streets. And I've never heard anybody that did that before. It makes me feel good. I'm not the only crazy one out there.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is the thing, is that people would call me, like from Avonsong, they'd call me and they'd say, hey, I live at 123 Banana Street. And I would say, oh my gosh, you're the house on the corner. You got the green shutters. Oh, I know. You got those beautiful flowers by your mailbox. And they're like, how do you know my house? And I'm like, I know every house in your neighborhood. And all of a sudden, I didn't need to say anything else.
Yep.
They were automatically going to sell their home with me.
You're done. I love that. So you had mentioned too, I don't know if I got the numbers straight, but it was a 113-point checklist you work with. Is that the right number?
I do. I have a huge checklist and everybody sends me a message. Glenda, can I have your copy of your checklist? This is what I tell you to do. Go through what your system is. Document every single thing that you do, from the calendar invite to color coding your calendar to the pre-listing kit. Do everything that you do, everything that goes in the pre-listing kit. Develop that checklist for yourself, and every single thing that you do, put it on there. And then that way it's what is it? Safe proof, fail proof.
Yes.
You're never ever going to miss a step. So I have tons of checklists, and anytime that something falls through the cracks, I find out where was the gap. And we fix it. Add it to the checklist.
Yes. I say that to my guys. It's okay to drop the ball once. You drop it twice, that means you didn't have the solution to the checklist.
Absolutely.
I love that. So you had also mentioned, and I love this comment, but I'd like to hear you go a little bit deeper with it. There is no substitution for preparation. You've kind of brought it up a couple times already. Tell me a little bit about that. How has that helped you?
Oh, my stars and stripes. So again, certainty and clarity gives you confidence. And when you are prepared, you have that certainty, you have that clarity. And so for me, I do tons of recon on anybody that I'm going to meet with. So I know, are they an I? Do I need to give them the beauty pageant presentation? Are they an analytical? Do I need to give them the Price Waterhouse presentation? I do tons of recon, because then that way, when you're prepared, somebody, and this is the one thing that I think agents miss. They know all of the addresses, 123 Banana Street, 125 Banana Street, but they don't know that Bobby and Susie live at 125 Banana Street. And it never fails when I sit down with you, Joe, and I'm talking to you about your house, and I say, okay, well, let's look at the comps. Here's 125 Banana Street. And you have no idea what street number Bobby and Susie live at. You just know that they live in the white house with the green shutters. So what I need to do is, when I'm talking to you, I'm saying to you, so Joe, so 125 Banana Street, that's Bobby and Susie Smith's house. You know Bobby and Susie, right? Oh yeah, I know Bobby and Susie's house. So then all of a sudden you're like, oh, she knows Bobby and Susie. I have no idea who Bobby and Susie are. But what I do is I've pulled not only the address, but I've also pulled the tax records, and I've memorized, and I've got it on my spreadsheet. 125 Banana Street, Bobby and Susie Smith. They bought in 2015. They paid $370.
Yes. And now as a seller, when I hear you saying that, I'm like, man, this gal knows exactly what she's talking about. I'll just hand it to her and I am good.
Yeah.
I love that. So I look at you and you have gone so far in real estate. You've got your own, is it brokerage or team?
I have my own team. I work for a brokerage here in Atlanta called Ansley Real Estate, which
Yeah.
is a partner of At Properties out of Chicago.
Okay.
It's a boutique brokerage. We have 250 agents. We did $2 billion last year.
Boutique brokerage. Okay.
Yeah. And I run an all-female team. Me, Evelyn, and Elizabeth. Elizabeth and I have been together 21 years.
Wow.
Evelyn's been on the team 6 years. And then I have Andrea and Larzelle who back us up. Larzelle handles all of the paperwork, and Andrea handles our client care program. She really helps me with the gifting. I do a ton of gifting, and she helps me with that.
I love that. So with all of that and the building of your real estate, and now with the social media, and I see you're speaking and you're in Clubhouse and the trainings, everything else you're doing, what does 5 to 10 years from now look like for you?
Well, people ask me, like, what is your exit plan, Glenda? I'll be honest with you. I love selling real estate.
Yeah.
I love real estate. People say, oh, Glenda, how many vacations do you take? My life is a vacation.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sitting in a $5 million house about to show it to somebody, a beautiful property. I mean, my life is a vacation. What is my exit plan? What's my 5 to 10 year plan? I hope I'm still selling houses. I hope that I'm still inspiring people. To me, I really am looking to make that a pillar of my real estate business, the ability to inspire, inform, and impact people.
I love that. I love it. And I love that mindset. You were so positive, which I think, it's great in real estate, right? It absolutely is. But I think it's great in life. I'm Gary Vaynerchuk?
Oh, yeah.
Huge Gary Vaynerchuk fan. And I truly believe happiness is the currency of life, man. And it seems like you have really found it. So it's December 20th, my gosh. And we've got 11 more days until the new year. So a lot of people watching this, I got a lot of agents that watch this.
Yeah.
They're thinking, holy smokes, what do I do for next year? Are there any recommendations you would give a new agent or an agent who's kind of plateaued off, who's looking to get to the next level in their real estate career?
Well, I think that you should preview 5 houses a week. I mean, 5 houses a day, 25 houses a week. So if you preview 5 houses a day, 25 houses a week, and I don't care if you do all 25 on Friday or if you do 5 a day, but if you preview 25 houses a week, it gives you intimate, intrinsic knowledge of your market. So when you're at the grocery store, you're at the country club, you're at the school, wherever you are, you can speak intelligently. You can speak real estate. And to me, real estate is a language. So if you are new or if you've plateaued, back in 2013, I had been selling 30, 35, 40 houses a year for years. And in 2013, I sold 38 houses, and it was December 9th. And I said, should I just get out of real estate? My profit wasn't great. I was really kind of cooking the books. It looked great. Oh, she's a, good real estate agent, good business. And I called Tom Ferry, and I got this guy, Ernie, on the phone. And I said, I'm thinking about signing up for coaching. And he told me how much it was. I was like, I don't know about that. I've never, I've been to some Mike Ferry stuff. I've never really done coaching. He's like, well, I'm like, I'll call you back. And I hang up the phone. About 5 minutes, my phone rings. I was headed to a Christmas party. I'll never forget it. My phone rings, and it's that 949 number. I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello? He goes, hey, Glenda, it's Tom Ferry. And I'm like, what? Do you know getting a coach exponentially expanded my business? Not only did it change my number of units and my volume, what it really changed was my profit.
Yeah.
And so for me, I went from 12% profit. So I was selling all these houses. I was making 12%. I was basically poor. And I went from 12% profit to now I'm about 47% profit. Wow. And I actually think that this year I will end up more. And it's just my business is so much healthier, and I have so many different pillars of business. So I think that you find a mentor, you find a coach, you find somebody who is strong where you are weak and helps you build your business.
I love that. Well, I've got a few comments here. I'm going to stroll through here and see what we've got. Love Glenda. How cool. Glenda's the best. Glenda's morning Clubhouse room is the best. She is so full of life. I'd like to ask you about that because I understand what Clubhouse is, but I honestly have never gone in and done that. And before, who was it? Joe Murray had written that. My good friend Eric is in your Clubhouse rooms or meetings. He loves you, man. Tell me a little bit about Clubhouse.
Eric who?
Greisman.
Oh, I love Eric Greisman. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, you just made his Christmas. I guarantee it.
Oh my gosh, I love him. Okay, so I should have known it was Eric Greisman because it's South Florida. That's the connection. Anyway, so I digress. Okay, so I love Clubhouse. So it's an audio app, and it's literally it's somewhere between a podcast and a chat room.
Okay.
And you go in and you have the opportunity to like pour into people, get great information, and just really connect with people on this super deep level. And so this room that I'm in the morning called Good Morning Real Estate, it is amazing because you have the best real estate minds. Today, somebody asked a question about how to pin a reel. Somebody asked a question about local services ads. Somebody asked a question about gifting. And so you can actually like get knowledge from the best people at that specific spot.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. And when you're just, when you're some days on real estate, it's not always sparkles and sunshine. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, this weekend, I feel like I got the shit kicked out of me.
Yeah.
And so you go in there and people just pour into you. And so I host Good Evening Real Estate, which is from 6 to 7 Eastern PM, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern. And it's 1 hour. And we discuss, debrief, and decompress about our real estate day. And I cannot wait to get there tonight and tell them all about my weekend because, I mean, it was crazy. But it's a great opportunity because you have the opportunity to connect with other real estate professionals, and it's wonderful.
I like that. And I bet the mornings are motivational.
Oh.
And I bet the afternoons or evenings are comical.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. What else we got here? Hello. Okay, cool. She's the best. Ask her about her listing presentation. All right. Tell us about your listing presentation.
So I wonder who asked that, but I will tell you. So I love the listing presentation. So last year, 2020, I went on 72 listing presentations. I took 68.
Wow.
So, and Tom Ferry says, well, that just tells me you're not going on enough listing presentations. But this is the thing. It is preparation. It is market knowledge. And to me, the listing presentation is the best part of real estate.
Yes.
Because you are selling something that is intangible. You are selling them on your services. And so for me, it's the biggest high. It's the biggest like deal. I love it. And I can carry a ton more listings than I can buyers. But I do a pre-listing kit. I do all my recon on the seller. I sit down. I have a huge spreadsheet, 11 by 17. So they have one, I have one, and it's big, bold print so that they can see exactly what's important about and how their house compares to every other house on the market. And then it's so funny because I've already sent everybody the paperwork. I've already sent them all the information I'm going to go over. And then I sit down and I say, what questions do you have? Because I want to understand. Everybody says, oh, well, you should walk around the house first. You should sit down first. You should do what works for you first. What works for me is to sit down and understand where the seller is. What is their mindset? What objections am I going to have to overcome? So I sit down first. I chat with them. I walk through the house. We sit back down, and I've already sent them the paperwork and everything to sign. So when they say, okay, I think I'm ready to list my house with you, I'm like, great. Let's open your laptop and you go ahead and sign the documents.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And again, it's just pumping them full of all the answers they'll need up front. And then just showing up to clean up any questions they have at the end. I love that. Where does she get her clients from? I'd love to know.
So 63% of my business is SOI, sphere of influence, and past client. And so I do a ton of, the girls on the tennis team, they all buy houses from me. Yep. I mean, all of the teachers at the school, all of the kids' parents at the school, my kids are my biggest bird dogs. So a lot of my stuff is sphere of influence and past client. My second source has always been open houses. I have always been great at converting people at open house. My third is agent to agent referrals. And now moving up the list and probably kind of going to overcome open houses is my social media. So today we were out, Evelyn was out with this guy who reached out to me. They're relocating from North Carolina for work. And he said, hey, I found you on TikTok and we want to buy a house in Atlanta, Georgia.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. You know, that whole thing, the thing that struck me is you said 63% came from your sphere of influence, right? How many agents know that any percent comes from anything? I think it's something that I mean, it's tough to get agents to get that deep with their business. I think that's awesome. What do you use to track all that?
Oh, sit down. I use an Excel spreadsheet.
Really?
Yes, I have everything color coded, but I will tell you,
I love that.
An expense turns into an investment when you understand the numbers.
Yeah.
Period. Everybody says, oh, well, I spent this much money on Zillow. I spent this much money on this. I spent this much money on this. An expense turns into an investment when you understand the numbers.
I love that. I love that. So looking at open houses, a lot of people do open houses, and I've seen a lot of people not be so successful with it. Is there anything you do that others probably don't do that makes you extra successful?
Well, we door knock the neighborhood.
Perfect.
And we invite them to the open house. We have a little gift for them. Hey, I just want to let you know, I'm expecting a lot of people at our open house on Sunday from 2 to 4, 123 Banana Street. If somebody blocks your driveway or, you know, if there's an issue, here's my contact information, have a glass of wine, give me a call. I'll fix it. So first off, and I never ever ask, are you thinking about selling your house? I always say, you know, I hope that somebody buys 123 Banana Street, but just in case they don't, do you know any of your neighbors that are thinking about selling? And they're like, no, I don't know anybody. Well, let me just ask you a question. At what price are you a seller?
I like that.
I'm not a seller. Glenda, I'm going out feet first. Well, praise the Lord. Tell your kids to give me a shout when you go out feet first. I hope it's not anytime soon. So, I mean, that's the thing is like, you got to be ready. You got to be on your feet. Then when I get people in the open house, I only focus on that one person. I'm only concentrating on them. I'm only thinking about them. And the entire time, all I'm doing is focused on them. So I do one person at a time. It doesn't matter if there's 30 people in there. I typically have people there to back me up. And I have every house in that range, in that area. And I already know every single thing about every single house. So if you walked in and you didn't want 123 Banana Street, I could say to you, so Joe, you're looking from 700,000 to 800,000 in Walton High School. And you would say, yep, Glenda. And I would say, you know what? I've got a list. Every single district. And I would keep the papers close to me so you couldn't see them. And then I would say, you know, I've got some appointments set up. If you'd like to go see them after my open house, I've got the opportunity to get you in there. And that's it. You just want them. You want to spend more time with them. You know, you want to move from the coffee date, which is the open house, to dinner. And that's the showing appointment. I
like that. What else do we got? Oh, here's Eric. Hey, Glenda, glad you're able to meet my good friend, Joe Rosen. Glenda's videos on big ass houses is hilarious. Okay, tell us about that. I love that too.
So that's actually my most viewed video. And it talks about one time I sold a big ass house and I made $137,000 and I spent it on a new car, new Mercedes, and clothes. And that Mercedes is worth nothing and those clothes don't fit. And instead of spending the money in real estate, investing it in a townhome on Lenox Road that was $100,000, I spent it on clothes and a car. And today they're not worth anything, but that townhouse just sold for $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a lesson there.
Yeah. Huge lesson.
Wow. I love that one. I haven't seen that one. I'll tell you the one I did see though. You've got a gal. I don't know who it is. She said, I didn't hire Glenda because I like her. I held her because she's a badass. And I was like, I love that. And it looked like a promo video you might send to listing clients or something. I was like, I love this.
That's true.
I've seen her TikToks. The Zillow vids are the best. Great guest, Joe. Joe, I heard, yeah, we'll talk about me later. Glenda, I can't get enough of you. Man, everybody just loves you. I've been watching Glenda Baker for a while now, and she's 100% all her, all genuine. Two of the most positive people on the internet. What do you think, Glenda, what do you think Zillow's future looks like?
Great question. Everybody is talking about, they're on the ropes because, they've lost this $500 million. Let's not count Zillow out. Zillow is making a lot of money from a lot of different sources. So in my market, they are a brokerage, they're a lender, they're a data provider, they're a search engine. I think that we have yet to see the end of Zillow. They have definitely changed the way that we search for real estate, the way that we buy and sell real estate, and the way that agents procure leads for real estate. So I'll be interested to see kind of what their 2022 looks like. Typically in Q4, they have some distraction announcement.
Yep.
So that in Q1, everybody is looking somewhere else when they're moving the ball and you don't realize it. So I'll be interested to see where it goes. I think you'll see them partner maybe with BlackRock. They invested $200 million with Zillow. So I think you're going to see more of that relationship uncovered in 2022.
Interesting. All right. I'll end with this question, probably the most important question. Where does Glenda get her sweaters from?
Everywhere. Oh my God. So this one, so y'all don't tell anybody. Do not tell anybody. This one was $9. Okay.
Oh.
So no lie. I Google star sweaters and you cannot believe. I mean, I have them from $9 to much more expensive. But this one, I got at this little place called Shein, Shein. And is it Sheen or Shein? Who knows? But it was $9. And they have like 15 pages of star sweaters.
Star sweaters.
But if you see one that you think I need, DM me, because I will tell you, I have gotten more star sweaters from people sending me links and sending me stuff. I mean, it is amazing. So I am always looking for more star stuff. I've got star jackets. I've got star pants. Today, I just got some star blue jeans in the mail. Ooh. I haven't tried them on yet, so God knows if those will fit. But I am here to tell you, I love a star like nobody's business. And it's my brand now. Yeah. I mean, it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
I love that. Well, Glenda, I can't tell you thank you enough. It's just absolutely awesome watching all the, man, I almost said growth, but honestly, it's so funny because anytime you're like, I've been doing this for 30 years. What are you talking about growth? But once it catches on social media and you can spread your spirit, your positivity, your excitement, your knowledge, your expertise with everybody else, I think that is such a gift. So I just want to say thank you. And I just enjoy all of it.
Joe, thank you so much for having me. I'm so sorry I was late. I will tell you, this week has been a blur to me. Last week was my birthday, and this week I just am not exactly sure where I am, but I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to spend some time with you.
I appreciate you. Have an awesome rest of your week.
Thank you, Joe. You have a great day too.
Thank you. Take care.